The wind swept across the open plains, carrying dust that danced in thin curls around the old wooden stage stop. Late afternoon sun burned low, stretching long shadows over the ground as the last stagecoach rumbled away. Wheels creaking, horses snorting, passengers settling in. But one passenger wasn't on board. She stood alone. Clara pressed a trembling hand against her mouth, trying to hold in the cry-building in her chest. Her carpet bag lay at her feet, dusty and faded from too many miles and too few hopes. She had traveled for 3 days, expecting someone, anyone, to meet her, but no one came. And now the coach was gone, leaving her stranded. She blinked hard, trying to steady herself, but the truth was too sharp to ignore. She'd been abandoned. The family she was supposed to work for had promised to send someone to fetch her. They'd written words like opportunity and safe place, and you won't be alone. But now the stop was silent. The driver gone. The baying wind her only companion. She sank onto the wooden bench beside the post where schedules had once hung, and tears finally slipped free. She wiped them angrily, hoping no one would ride by to see her like this. But fate had strange timing. In the distance, the thud of hooves echoed faintly, growing louder. Clara startled upright, brushing her skirt, straightening her spine, even though her heart still quivered. A rider emerged from the shimmering horizon, a tall man on a deep chestnut stallion. His hat pulled low, his coat flaring with each stride. The sight was something out of a dime novel, but Clara was too worn to be impressed by dramatics. Still, she watched, breath held. The rider slowed as he neared, eyes lifting to meet hers. He reined in smoothly, boots hitting the ground with a confident thud. Dust settled around him as he studied her with quiet concern. "Ma'am," he said gently, "you look like someone who's been waiting too long." She swallowed, unable to form the truth, but he saw it anyway. Name's Colt McLaren. His voice held the warm steadiness of someone used to calming spooked horses and frightened folks alike. "You all right?" Clara tried to nod, but the heaviness inside her made lying impossible. I don't think so," she whispered. "They didn't come. The family who hired me. I'm supposed to go to the Pembroke Ranch, but no one showed. No coach is scheduled till Thursday, and I haven't eaten since morning." Colt's eyes darkened with something like anger, though not at her. "Pembroke," he repeated. "They're 2 counties over, and known for making promises they don't keep. You're lucky they didn't send anyone." Clara blinked at him. Lucky. Nothing about today felt lucky. "So I'm stranded," she murmured. "I have nowhere to go." Colt crouched slightly, leveling his gaze with hers. "You ain't stranded," he said in a tone that brooked no argument. "I'm taking you somewhere safe. No more waiting." Clara's breath caught. She knew accepting help from a stranger was risky, but so was spending the night alone in the middle of nowhere. And something about him, steady hands, sincere eyes. The way he stood like a shield against the wind made her believe he meant every word. "Where would you take me?" she asked hesitantly. "McLaren Ranch. My place. My sister and her boys live there too. You'll have food, a bed, and safety. That I promise." Tears threatened again, but this time from relief. "Why? Why would you help me?" Colt rose, brushing dust from his gloves. "Because no decent man leaves somebody crying at a stage stop. And because the moment I saw you standing here alone, I knew I wasn't ridden away." Her heart fluttered unexpectedly, but she pushed the feeling aside. This was about survival, not foolishness. Colt lifted her carpet bag as if it weighed nothing and held his hand out. She stared at it, then slowly placed her hand in his. Warm, steady, real. "Come on," he said softly. "Let's get you home." He helped her onto his horse, climbing up behind her with practiced ease. Clara tensed slightly when his arm came around her, not holding her. Just balancing the reins, she felt strangely protected. They rode westward, toward a distant line of cottonwoods. The plains rolled endlessly around them, gold and wide, the sky a vast blue ocean. The steady rhythm of the horse eased her trembling, and after several minutes, she found her voice again. "Mr. McLaren," she said softly. "Colt is fine," he replied. "Colt, why did you say I was lucky the Pembrokes didn't come?" He exhaled, jaw tight. "They're known for working folks to the bone, and when they're done, they toss 'em out without a coin or care. I heard they were bringing in a new girl. Didn't know it was you." Clara's stomach twisted. She'd come so far. She'd pinned every hope she had on that job. "I didn't know," she whispered. "Most don't," Colt said. "But you're safe now." They rode another mile in comfortable silence before Clara finally relaxed enough to lean slightly back. Colt didn't move, didn't shift or stiffen. He simply kept riding, guiding them over a small rise. When the ranch came into view, Clara gasped. It was beautiful in a rugged, lived-in, way-rolling pasture. White fenced corral, sprawling barn, smoke curling from a stone chimney. "This is your home?" she asked, awe creeping into her voice. "Has been for 3 generations," Colt replied. "It ain't fancy, but it's honest." They approached. A woman in her 30s stepped onto the porch, wiping her hands on an apron. "Colt," she called. "You're late." Her words cut off when her eyes fell on Clara. Colt swung down and helped Clara dismount. "June," he said firmly but gently. "This is Clara. She was abandoned out by the east stage. Stop. I brought her home." June's expression softened instantly. In 2 strides, she reached Clara, taking her hands with a warmth that melted whatever fear remained. "You poor thing," June murmured. "Come inside. You look half frozen and half starved." Clara felt her throat tighten again, but she followed June up the steps while Colt carried in her bag. Inside, the home was cozy worn quilts, warm lamplight, the smell of stew filling the air. June guided her to a chair. "Sit. I'll get you a bowl." Clara hesitated, overwhelmed. "I don't want to be a burden." June chuckled warmly. "Honey, Colt brought you here. That means you're under his protection. And anyone he rides in with becomes family faster than he'll ever admit." Clara looked toward the doorway where Colt stood quietly, watching her with a gentle intensity. June leaned closer. "And if you ask me, he ain't brought anyone home like this before." Clara's cheeks heated. "It's not like that," she whispered. June gave her a knowing smile. Not yet. For the next hour, Clara ate more than she had in days. She told June and Colt the truth, how she'd left nothing behind but sorrow, how she needed a fresh start, how she'd pinned everything on the job that had evaporated. "You'll stay here until you're steady," Colt said, simply. "No debates." "But I don't have money to pay you," Clara protested. Colt shook his head. "Not asking for money." "Then what do you want?" she whispered. Colt paused. June watched him with raised brows, as if waiting to hear his real answer, too. Finally, Colt spoke in a low voice. "I want you to feel safe again." Clara's chest tightened. No one had said something like that to her in years. The next days unfolded gently. Clara helped June with chores, learned the rhythms of ranch life, and slowly rediscovered laughter. She loved the mornings the pink glow over the fields, the roosters crowing, the sound of Colt chopping wood before breakfast. He was quiet but thoughtful, checking on her without making her feel fragile. He taught her how to ride, guiding her hand on the reins, steadying her when she wobbled. "You're a natural," he said one afternoon, sunlight glinting in his eyes. "I'm terrified," she laughed breathlessly. "But you're still trying," he said. "That's what counts." Sometimes she'd catch him looking at her as though he was memorizing her of all things, and sometimes she looked back too long. One evening, after the boys were asleep and June was knitting by the fire, Colt stepped onto the porch where Clara stood, watching stars. "Cold night," he said. "Colt," she murmured, turning toward him. "Why were you riding near the stage stop that day?" He swallowed, shifting slightly. "Would you believe me if I said I wasn't supposed to be there?" but something pulled me that way. Something, she repeated. Colt looked at her fully, the lantern light reflecting in his eyes. A feeling, he said quietly, like I needed to be somewhere, like someone needed me. Her breath caught. She stepped closer without meaning to. Colt didn't move back. Clara, he said softly, I don't want to overwhelm you. You've been through enough, but I need to tell you something plain. Her pulse quickened. He took a slow breath. When I rode up and saw you crying, something in me said no more. No more waiting. No more hurt. No more being left behind. I want to be the man who shows you what staying looks like. Clara felt tears threaten again, but these were warm, not aching. Colt, I'm scared, she whispered. I know, he said, but I'll wait, as long as you need. She stepped even closer, their breath mingling in the cool night air. What if I don't want you to wait long? His eyes softened in wonder. He reached up slowly, giving her every chance to pull away, and brushed a tear from her cheek. Then I'll say what I wanted to say that first day, he murmured. You're safe with me, Clara, and you ain't alone anymore. She leaned into his touch, letting herself believe him, letting herself want him. Colt took her hand gently. Stay, he whispered. Not because you have nowhere else, but because you choose to. Clara's heart answered before her mouth did. I choose to, she breathed. Colt pulled her into his arms.